the Twitter Spaces. If you are listening on Twitter or later on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Today we are going to have Shrub Finance. They are building DeFi lending protocols, so we'll learn a lot about DeFi and NFTs. We'll be joined by Rachita. She is an incredible person and an innovator, so we'll learn a lot about NFTs and DeFi from her as well. So yeah, please stay tuned with us, and we'll start these spaces very soon as we are joined. So this is Kevin this side. I'm marketing manager and business development manager at MetaPath. MetaPath is a Web3 aggregator based on artificial intelligence uh, and an NFT marketplace. So you can go onto metapath.me and swap between a lot of different currencies through our swap. You can buy any NFT on multiple different blockchains through any cryptocurrency. So let's say if you want to buy an NFT on Ethereum through Solana, you can do that, or you can buy an NFT on Polygon through with ETH or something like that. So we have those kinds of functions that you can use on our NFT marketplace or on our swap, which you can visit at metaverse.me. We also have ChatGPT plugins, which you can use. So you can add MetaPath plugin to your ChatGPT, which gives you an access to whole NFT and Web3 world, which then helps you answer a lot of questions, do lots of analysis and things like that. We have a tweet that I'll pin here, so you can read it later. Yep. So I have added tweet over here. So we have Shrub Finance in our spaces. Hey there, Rachita. How are you? If you are trying to speak, you are on mute. I just gave a brief introduction about Shrub and MetaPath in the spaces. And yeah, so if you can unmute and speak, I have also sent an invitation to Shrub Finance. So if you can please accept that.
Hey,
Hey Rachita, how are you? Good morning. Uh, she is having some issues with Mike, I think. So yeah, yeah. So that's all about MetaPath. You can visit metapath.me and check out our swap, check out our NFT marketplace. If you are a builder, you can use our API to build some things. around NFTs and swap. You can use our AI tool in AI plugin on ChatGPT and do use it for your research on NFTs and other things. I have pinned that tweet here, so yeah, that should help you. We'll wait for Rachita to join from Shub Finance. Hey Rachita, can you hear me? Hey there. Can you hear me, Rachita? Yeah, okay, yeah, there are some issues, so we'll wait. Meanwhile, let me share some information about Shrub Finance. So they are a DeFi lending protocol. They are doing a lot of innovation around DeFi and NFTs. They have dynamic NFTs that grow over time, which is a really cool thing. And I'm really excited to learn about them from the founder
Hey,
herself. Hey, Rachita, how are
doing
you?
good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you, and yeah, I good morning, and I'm really excited to have you here.
Great. Awesome. I'm glad we could get these issues figured out.
Yeah, so I was just telling the audience that you are building a DeFi lending protocol, and you are doing some amazing things around NFTs that we want to hear. So yeah, we are really looking to hear from you and learn some things from you. My question is, are you ready? Have you had your coffee yet?
Yes, I just finished my tea actually.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So yeah. So can you please give a bit of introduction about yourself? What has what is your background, and how have you come to build this show finance?
Yeah, so a bit on my background. I am in crypto space since 2016. And really, what got me into this space was the demonetization event that occurred in India. Also happened to have Indian rupees with me at the time, and it took me a second to realize that I had that money, and it became paper. So it was a very surreal moment for me, because I have been interested in free market economics and the work of Mises and all the things for quite a long time, but it never connected with me at a personal level. And sometimes they say to get empathy for things, you really have to experience something. So I still remember sitting with a pile of 15,000 rupees, and I was like, wait a sec, this is just paper now. This can't be true. And I interestingly was also doing a trip across Asia by at the time, and I was gonna hop 5 countries in 5 days. So just to get like kind of see what happens, I took that amount with me, and I was going to every bank in a country instead of the traditional sightseeing. And I just to kind of like see what happens, right? I was like, no, this can't be true. This money is so. But 5 places, every place, it rejected, and it took me like 5 days to realize, wait, this is just paper, man. I know it's a very surreal moment, but I also remember it having a very deep impact on me, an impact that I realized over time. Like you recover these shocking events, and I just remember sitting while looking at my salary slip in US and saying, wait a sec, this can happen to dollar as well. And then you go down this whole path of, wait, all the money in the bank, is this my money? And then I remembered the 1933 event when people were asked to bring their gold back. And it's just like all of this got me into the rabbit hole of crypto, because I was also hearing about it at the same time. And yeah, and then I just wanted to learn everything about it. And I was like, it's no coincidence that 2008 financial crisis was also the time during which Bitcoin became a thing. And I felt that it was more than just a currency, just a trade. I felt this was a vehicle to eventually have us be in a position where we can have governments accountable, we can have monetary systems accountable. So that's kind of like my foray into the crypto rabbit hole.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. And for anyone who doesn't know, 2016 demonetization event in India was a day where suddenly all the so there were two huge currencies of 500 rupees, which is around $7-8, and 1,000 rupees, which is around, I think, 12-15. They both went out of business, so probably no one can accept them or no one can trade it in them, and this created a huge shortage of money in India. And yeah, that was actually realization for a lot of people that money is not something of value. It's really, fiat money is not really backed by anything. It's just a paper. And yeah, I completely agree with what you are saying over there. So then from that event to Shrub Finance, what was the inspiration behind founding Shrub Finance, and how did the idea of paper gardens come about?
So Shrub Finance was kind of continuation of the same thought. I think I went and worked for a crypto company for 4 years because I wanted to learn everything about the technology and how payments work and just the inner workings of it, and all of it. And once I was done with that, and I spent quite a bit refining the experiences, like some of the very early payment methods, which is the QR code. Like our team has a lot to do with actually bringing them into mainstream. So we've worked on some of those very early payment systems, and really thinking deep about, hey, how is this new world going to look like? What are the tools? And the best part about working in this space is, as a developer, I felt, it's new challenges, things that haven't been figured out yet, so you cannot even copy very much from the past. And that kind of thrill combined with the thought that, hey, what you are working on is truly changing the world and has a real impact, makes for a very um, fulfilling experience. And expanding on that, when COVID came, at the same time, I was also learning about Uniswap. And when I heard DeFi and I connected my wallet the first time, it really brought that vision in my head to reality of like free markets, right? Like all the theory, I suddenly started looking at it and saying, "Whoa, this is what's gonna do." And there was just no looking back from it. I tried to push the cause of DeFi in my company a little bit, but soon I realized, if I have to build tools, build this new financial system, then I have to go on my own. And personally, for me, Shrub is also a way for me to do activism. So back in the days when people had to bring about revolutions, they had to take to streets, right? But Web3 has made it so easy that just with our computers, we can bring about the change. So my inner voice said, okay, if you have ideas on how to make things better, if you know how to code, and you know the tech, what's the reason not to do it? And over again, if you remember, during the 2020 COVID, Robinhood was happening. Then we heard about Silicon Valley Bank, and then FTX, Celsius, BlockFi. Over and over and over again, we are we see how we are not in control of our own money. So a huge part of it is like, channeling my frustration into creating something meaningful. And also, a lot of it really comes out of being just fed up with the system and trying to bring about change, trying to create better systems.
Uh, yeah, can you share more about like the paper gardens? How did the idea of paper gardens come about?
Paper Gardens really was our so DeFi and NFTs. NFTs for us is just more than the PFP. I mean, like beyond the hype, NFT as a tech is very cool. So in the beginning, since the beginning days of NFTs, we were very fascinated with just the tech, and then the power it unveils. But the peak of NFT was just PFPs, and we were kind of like, this is kind of boring. NFTs can do a lot more in terms of bringing about new ways to engage with the users and to kind of create new systems, be it like certifications or access and things like that. And we are big on storytelling as well. So Shrub always was um, a passion project, and we wanted it to kind of like represent the story of our company online. So that's kind of where the seed of the paper garden comes from. Shrub represents growth. Shrub is a plan, and we gave away seeds, and we said, what if we kind of showcase the journey of Shrub on chain, and our users can grow with us, like literally. So we gave seed NFTs, and then people bought pot NFTs, and you could plant the seed and grow it into a shrub. And then there were like fertilizers and watering and things like that you could do. So it's a pretty intense process. It takes about a month to grow a shrub, and you have to water it and things like that. So yeah, we just wanted to bring something innovative. We wanted to do something different, and dynamic NFTs really piqued our interests because it's just beautiful to see on-chain metadata change based on users interaction.
Yeah, I mean, you are absolutely correct that in saying that dynamic NFTs and NFTs are a great tool to engage with your customer, engage with your user, create something exciting for them. When there are business plans being drawn out on paper, uh, people really miss out on the fact that there is miss out on the power of user engagement or users attention and things like that, and NFTs are like one of the tools that can do that. And what you are doing with, let's say, paper gardens, to just engage for users to regularly engage with your platform or regularly engage with your NFTs, it's such an amazing way and idea to bring in users regularly, and have them participate in the project. So my next question comes from, there are few DeFi lending platforms out there, and they have been working for a while. So how does Shrub Finance differentiate itself from those lending platforms, and like how do you think you are different from the rest of the market?
So I would say what Shrub is doing with the lending platform, really no one else is doing right now, because our fundamental idea with this lending platform is to keep it simple. And what we are offering is simple fixed rate LTV based interest rates. So pretty much what we are doing is we are taking the Celsius and BlockFi, keeping the good ideas, removing the middleman, and bringing the power of decentralization to lending. So one of the really cool thing with these failed ideas was the ease of use in very simple terms. Right now, the DeFi landscape is very noisy, and everything is about leverage, everything is about capital efficiency. While there is a room for that, what we are doing is we're saying our innovation is that we don't have any curve. We are fixing it. And by that, what we mean is simplification, really. Um, these products had shown last year of the demand and the need for a simple product. Like crypto is very intimidating for a lot of people, even now. And in the course of working with our own community, interacting with a lot of users in the DeFi, one thing that we have learned, not through newspapers, not through articles, but through true interactions with the users, is that it's very intimidating. And so part of what we want to bring is simple products. And that's where the idea of Shrubland comes from. Let's try to make something that's simple and easy to use, and it's built for somebody who is a believer in crypto but necessarily doesn't want to sell it. He's simply trying to unlock the liquidity with his crypto, but he's not looking for crazy yields and returns. There are many platforms out there right now where people can do that. But what we are targeting, our target group is crypto conservatives. People who are wise, who are smart, who don't want to gamble with their crypto. But at the same time, let's say they want to pay a bill. And if a 0% and a 1% interest rate can let them unlock the value of their crypto to be able to do that, that's what we want to give them.
Yeah, I mean that's really good thought. I see lots of platforms having uh, a really big number in terms of APY, but then at the end of the day, token value is decreasing, and people are not really making that money. And I mean, it's there are lots of APYs which are really just impossible to have. And yeah, what you're trying to do is really cool in terms of making it a better user experience, in terms of being more upfront with the users and things like that. Can you explain the concept of dynamic on-chain growth NFTs, and how do they differ from traditional NFT experience, or how do they differ from traditional NFTs? We would love to hear about your NFTs, in the context of this as well.
Oh, yeah, I actually did a talk in May on dynamic NFTs. I spoke at NFT Lisbon. I think they are amazing. The coolest part about dynamic NFTs is they are such a powerful tool to have these co-creation um, co-creation with the user. So traditionally, growing a brand is challenging, right? But growing a brand is also everything because brand matters, trust matters, and ultimately for any project to thrive, whether it's in the traditional world like web 2 world or web 3 world, you need to have people around you who really evangelize and see the things how you see, right? And then the question is like, how do we convert people from being just like passive participants, which was all of web 2, to being active part of a project, an idea, or a product, right? So that's where Discord and like web3 communities did a great job. And I think what um, dynamic NFTs do is that they really supercharge that experience. Unfortunately, I still do not see a lot of communities, especially in the DeFi side of things, where the focus is on creating like a long-term relationship with the user rather than that being very transactional. But having said that, um, what dynamic NFTs do is tech wise, it's amazing because the metadata gets updated on chain, images get updated on chain, and NFTs are getting created and destroyed, and user controls the outcome, right? So, for example, one of the feature a user unlocks in Shrub's Paper Garden series is after they have grown a fully grown shrub, they can give a custom name. It requires certain number of fertilizers, but once you have that, you unlock that feature. So people can change the name, and it really becomes a part of the metadata. So when things like that happen, it's when the user stops being a participant passively. He is actively engaged, and he's truly now shaping whether it's the story or just um, just the activity along with the creators.
Thank you for that answer. Yeah, dynamic NFTs, as you explain it, are amazing and for an users. So I really like that. It depends on how much user interacts for NFT to grow. It's what let's say big collections are doing right now in gaming or Web3 gaming, where they are asking their users to play games and based on that, their NFT was and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's happening in game, and but now what you're doing is on chain, and it's really awesome to have that. Uh, so, what were the challenges you faced while developing on-chain growth NFTs, and how did you overcome that?
Oh, there were all sorts of challenges because, first of all, it was brand new. No one else was doing it because what the series that we did, everything happens on chain. So the plant, for example, grows on chain. And there are various stages that get unlocked. So all of this can be seen in OpenSea, the whole growth. So it was a very complicated smart contract, and it was fancy, and it was custom built for our NFTs. So we overcame it by doing a lot of testing and making sure everything works. And we even had another we had like another thing called NFT tickets, which was a part of the Paper Garden series, where we pre-sold the pods. And NFT tickets in itself was quite innovative because it brings like an option flavored um, theme to NFTs where you can pre-sell it, but there are various options. We had like different roles that people had, and we wanted to like do differential pricing based on that. But we have a very good team, and people were up for the challenge, and ultimately it all worked.
Yep, ultimately it's always good that if it works, and yeah, it's a good thing that it did. Uh, so what you are doing here is you are bringing, you are building something in DeFi, and then there is an NFT portion of it, and you are bringing these two things together. So how do you see the convergence of DeFi and NFTs shaping the future of crypto and ecosystem, and how are you envisioning that these two things can be used together to build, let's say, a better product or better user experience? So how do you envision DeFi and NFT together?
See, in DeFi, if you take the example of, let's say, Uniswap, there the positions are represented as NFTs. So we are already seeing the beginnings of that convergence even in the DeFi side of things. Even in Shrub, um, we'll have positions that will be represented as NFTs. So A, people can see them visually, and B, allow them the freedom to be able to do whatever with them. We want to have give people the flexibility to be able to swap their positions if they want and things like that. So in that regard, that's one way. Um, it's a meaningful use of NFT in DeFi. The other that I see would be more like the feature unlocking and early access and kind of like different rewards and things like that that people can unlock in DeFi. Because, like I said, one of the biggest issues, if you look at the entire DeFi landscape currently, is I would also say crypto in general, the associations that user have with any project is very transactional in nature, right? And so you say, okay, so how do I solve that problem? Why is that a problem? It is a problem because if you are competing purely on features, DeFi is open source in nature. In 2 seconds, somebody can create a copy of your project, put in 4 more features, or like reduce the fee, and the entire movement will shift there, or do a token drop and things like that, right? So long term, it isn't a sustainable, and it becomes a zero sum game. Now, NFTs on the other side, as we were discussing earlier, have this hidden potential of creating brand identities. And as we have seen, even with the PFP versions of NFTs, it's a great way to bring communities together. So you take DeFi, which is innovating the financial system, and then but it's also trustless, right? There is a reason why, it's not like accounts and passwords and knowing everything about people and stuff like that. But you take NFTs here, and then you combine brand loyalty with a product, and now you are creating products that sustain over time.
Yeah, so thank you for that wonderful answer about DeFi and NFTs and how NFTs can bring a loyalty to a product. At Shrub Finance, you have paper Garden series, and you have Shrub Finance, which is let's say a DeFi protocol. So how are you combining these two? In what ways are you planning to use NFTs and DeFi together at Shrub Finance?
Like I was saying, even for Shrub, the positions will represent in NFT, and any part of the platform that makes sense for a visual representation, we'd use it for that. But we aren't gonna mix up our garden series with DeFi, apart from the fact that we have shrub holders, which is a group of people that have put in all the work to grow the shrub and they're growing with the project. Um, Now they are part of the history, part of the growth. But apart from that, there isn't going to be like a direct kind of relationship in that, except like I was saying, representation of positions, which makes sense. And one of the things with the tech is, like there's just new things coming up. Like every day we hear new things, new contracts coming out, right? New tech coming out. Now there's like this whole AI angle to it. One of the things that we try to do at Shrub is we really focus hard on, okay, what's truly important? What's like what matters? Does it really have an angle? Is it going to serve a purpose? Is it going to be any sort of value add to the end user? And based on that, we pick and choose text and combine them. And one of the reasons to do the NFT series before we launched the DeFi platform was, like I was saying, we saw early on that sustaining communities is going to be a very difficult challenge in the crypto market. And we saw it already, even like how you were saying, like tokens going up and down, and you know communities hitting like 10,000, 20,000, and a year down the line you look at it, project is gone. It's like it's a challenge. And our reason to do NFTs was to bring a sort of brand loyalty and showcase our ability to innovate, but also we really wanted to take time to understand the user base. Not when we have launched a product or launched a token, or that's not the time to understand the user base, right? We wanted to kind of like understand people's pain points. What are the true challenges that they are having? And in order to do that, you have to really see people interact with the project in a way that doesn't necessarily have a monetary angle to it, if that makes sense. And it is like so important to keep that in mind in this space, just because the monetary part is such a huge component of it, right?
Yeah, 100% agree with that. So now let's talk about the future and your roadmap. What's next? What's next for Shrub Finance and the NFTs Paper Garden series? So what's next for them? What are some things that we can expect? When can we expect them? Yeah, so yeah, please tell us about your product and when we can expect it.
Shrub, mostly we are working on the MVP right now. We just got past the prototype stage. And right now we are building the early access list. It's available on the website for people to sign up for. And this list is going to be the group of users who will be testing our product when it goes to beta. We foresee the MVP building to pretty much go on until the end of the year, just because we have contracts, obviously, and security is a huge thing. So we want to have contracts thoroughly reviewed and audited and all of that before we even start testing it out with the users. So I would say that the Q1 of next year is when this product will go out in the hands of users and we'll start testing. But until then, we do like to build in silence, especially given our own experiences in the past. Plus, we like to keep the focus on building when we are building the product. So for the coming few months, um, the things community can look forward to is we are going to rebrand Shrub. Because the baby is grown now, and he's getting ready to venture into the DeFi side of things. And so we'll have a story for it. And our designer is amazing, so I'm really looking forward to present to everyone how his thought process, even behind rebranding, and things like that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I always say, once you get out of stealth mode in crypto, you will not have time to focus on building because there is so much to do in marketing, and there are so many conferences and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's yeah, it's a very hard job. You have to travel a lot. You have to meet lots of people. Your sleep gets sacrificed. So yeah, it's good to build in stealth mode.
Yep.
And yeah, it's really good to hear the same opinion from your side as well. So, are there any collaborations or partnerships that you are working on for your launch, or something that community can be excited about?
Well, I won't spill the beans just yet, but yes, in the upcoming months, we have some very interesting panels, conferences, and things lined up. So, yeah, I would say the best place to follow and get updates is our Discord. And we also have a Shrub newsletter that we send out um, every now and then. And we like to share with the user base our progress and our thoughts and what's coming up.
Yes, so I have added a Shrub Finance tweet to the spaces as well, so you can follow it, and you can keep yourself updated. If you are listening on YouTube, you can go at Shrub Finance, SHRUBFINANCE, and follow them on Twitter and join their Discord from there as well. So now you have been into DeFi, you have been into NFTs, and you have done lots of stuff over last 7 to 8 years. Now I want to ask you a question that's looking into future of DeFi and NFTs. So how do you see DeFi and NFT landscapes evolve over the next few years?
Hmm, that's a good one. I think NFTs are going to be embraced more by the mainstream, where we'll see more and more mainstream like Web2 brands, as we are already seeing, embrace NFTs to engage with their user base. And they'll be using that more to brand build. For example, you can imagine like Fitbit tracker launching a on-chain dynamic series where user can track his walking or running and can like see his activity on chain, and have like so bigger brands using more co-creation opportunities like that. DeFi, look, my prediction in DeFi is the next wave is going to be about productization. And what I mean by that is the first layer of DeFi was about setting the infrastructure, right? So, for example, Shrubland is being built on top of Aave. Um, the beauty of DeFi is these Lego blocks where you need this layer that you build on top of and things like that, right? So it took few years for these rails to get established. And DeFi, while it brings the angle of transparency for the users, the time component is a must for them to establish and be beta tested. Now, the next wave is going to be not a race to add more features to unlock more yield, but seeing products that are targeting a specific user and serving their need. Because ultimately, business in general, you know, one has to solve a need. And in order to understand that need, one has to spend time with the users. And once you do that, at a point in time, you solve someone's problem, right? And we'll start seeing a lot of that in DeFi, where we'll see these base level protocols being used as rails to now create targeted products that cater to a particular segment and serve their needs.
Thank you for that. I think you are on point. At least in my opinion, I think the same as well. Uh, and yeah, it's definitely something to build upon. Uh, so, as someone who is experienced in both DeFi and NFTs, what advice would you give to a newcomer who is looking to do something, or let's say start using DeFi or start using NFTs? What advice would you give to a newcomer?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because someone was asking me about this the other day in a forum, and they were suggesting that NFT is a very scammy way to start. People should buy some crypto and start trading it. And I was trying to make a point that the thing with crypto understanding is unless you actually do it, you do not understand it. You don't get it. Unless you make your first transaction, it just doesn't get in the head. No matter how many books you read or content you read, like consume and things like that. At the same time, because crypto is money, and this is my personal opinion, I have found NFTs to be a great way to learn. So if you are new, the very first thing is to understand how the basic things work. So you don't have to take the actual money and gamble it somewhere. And I say gamble again because it will take you time to understand it. The first few months, perhaps, you are going to lose something. But for our user base, when we started the Shrub community, a lot of our user base was very new people. And this is a direct feedback we got from many people throughout the course of the series that they actually learned crypto and using and the security and all the important aspects of it by engaging in the series. So you can find a cheap series. Like our series was very cheap because we weren't targeting, like it wasn't done for like monetary purposes. But in Polygon or like in some other chain, just find a chain, pick up an NFT series that isn't like very expensive, and it's interesting, appeals to you, play with it, see where it goes. Same goes with crypto. Also start with a very small amount that isn't going to ruin your life. Take that, um, combine it with something that you like. Like if you like a game, maybe that would be a good place, like a Web3 game to start off. Or if you like NFTs, start collecting them and things like that, and slowly build on top of that. But yeah, security is such a big thing with crypto in general. However, like I'm saying, you can read up all about it online. Unless you do it, you won't get it.
Hey Rashida, it's been pleasant hearing you speak and learning about Shrub Finance and dynamic NFTs and all the speaks that you have shared here. It was awesome speaking with you, and I hope everyone who is listening here or later on YouTube will enjoy this conversation. I would like to thank you for joining the spaces. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing about your project and sharing about DeFi and NFTs.
Same, and thank you for hosting such an amazing space. I think you had some really really interesting questions. I loved it.
Thank you so much. So yeah, we'll see you around. If anyone wants to follow Shrub Finance, I have a link. I have tweet pinned to the spaces. You can go ahead and check their profile, or if you are listening on YouTube, it's at SHRUBFINANCE. So yeah, go over and check it out. So yeah, thank you for joining. Have a good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.